Good afternoon, MiguelCio with the Winston Minute, our report at the market's close. And today we enter our third day of pretty low volatility markets, or rather closing with low movement as compared to the beginning of the day. We saw stocks drift lower in the final hours of trading as the sort of rhetoric surrounding U.S.-Chinese commercial negotiations shifted a bit to a little more conservative, a little more guarded, and investors reacted to that as opposed to the expectations of some grand deal coming between the two parties shifted. So the dollar was mixed and bond deals rose. Based off of that, only big individual name news really we saw today was Best Buy, shares up 16%. They're supposed to report after the close any minute now. We'll send out a tweet and likely a WhatsApp with some of the details behind it. Now, touching back on the other open items, we've mentioned the U.S. and Chinese negotiations. Some comments from U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lightsker that America is pushing for significant structural changes to the relationship between U.S. and China. And this tells us that not to expect some grandiose, winner-takes-all agreement at the end of the day, that it's going to be more progressive, more constructivist, a bit more complicated of an interaction between the two nations than expected, and so investors didn't like that quite as much as the enthusiastic sort of rhetoric surrounding the endeavor we've been following recently. Also some comments coming from Michael Cohen about more potential crimes that Trump committed while in office, and so that contributed to sort of this slouch today in the markets. Going back to Asia, we've got the US and Chinese thing, as I've mentioned. We also have Pakistan and India sort of with some conflict embers. Pakistan shot down 2 Indian jets. Luckily, there doesn't seem to be an aggressive movement towards escalation. The leaders of Pakistan reaching out, wanting to negotiate with India. I think this is kind of the best outcome out of the situation. They had their war in 1971. Looks like they're trying to avoid the same scale of assault. Luckily, I'm not sure if both countries have the no first strike policy with their nuclear armaments. I know India does. So we can at least be confident that we're not going to see a random nuclear strike between these two countries. Their respective currencies and equity markets are bouncing around as investors react to the geopolitical instability. That's all I have, other than we're waiting to see some more results from Brexit. We're hearing now that there isn't going to be a hard Brexit. It would be too sort of traumatic for the economy and the logistical operation overwhelming. So we'll tweet about that. We'll update you with Best Buy's report once they get it out. And that's all I have. Catch up with us tomorrow morning and take care.